is Shay and
Kim.
with Door to Our Lives with Kim and Shay. We are so excited to have you guys here with us today. This is our first show with guests.
Yay! I'm so excited.
So we're excited to have them here. This show will talk a little bit about our feelings about the church. And things that happen in the church, things that we love about it, but then some things that we're not so happy about. So we all have our own personal feelings about this. And then there's been some things that has happened that I would love for them to share with you. So we want to welcome Ashley Mack.
Ashley Mack.
And Brittney Rito.
Okay.
I have known them for over a year now. A couple of years probably. Our kids went to the same camp together, and they are some amazing people. Like, they have a heart of gold from the very first day I met them. If you know my son Trey, he don't do people.
No.
And he loves them. So I am so excited to have them here. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah,
Thank you guys.
And I can kind of co-sign that. Just when they walked in, just the energy was just like, I was like, okay.
She's similar to her.
Because
so it's kind of
we've talked about it on. You'll hear a repeating theme like me with people and energy. I'm just like, I don't know. I like who I like.
Yeah.
And when I like you, I like you. So I felt you guys' energy as soon as y'all walked in. And I was like, okay, I like this.
Okay,
this is gonna be good. Like, we can talk after this.
Absolutely.
So I'm so excited to have you guys. I so sorry to hear about the circumstances of the situation that happened. Nobody should be able to tell your story but you. I first want to say that there are videos out, and you can tell them a little bit about that, Ashley, so that they can kind of go back and see that as well.
Okay. So before we get into our story, I do have like a series right now on my TikTok page that kind of gives a more in-depth conversation about the conversation that's going to take place. And my TikTok page is Ashley, ASHLEY, McLux, MCLUXE. So Ashley McLux.
Can we actually put like a little thing under there at the bottom when you edit this, John, that shows her TikTok thing? Okay. Gotcha, girl.
Yeah. Awesome.
So we want to just tell a little bit about yourself, then we'll move on to Brittney, and she can kind of...
Yeah, so what do y'all want to know? Well, I'm Ashley. Like, just like a dating site?
I like one walk.
No, but I mean, I'm just a woman here serving people. I love people. I'm involved in a lot of things. That's why I don't know exactly what to say. We do a lot, and I love people. I love children. I love helping people, and so I think that's kind of why we're here telling our story.
Yeah.
So,
yes. And Miss Brittney?
I mean, same. We pretty much work together with a lot of stuff. I have my son who's 15, and then her son who's my godson, and
they're best friends.
Your son is 15. Did you have him like at
5, right?
I see it. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, wow. Okay, you look amazing.
Yes.
Thanks. But
You
yeah,
look amazing.
you look amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just work and do all the extracurricular things with my kids and my bestie.
And have y'all been friends for a really long time?
yes.
How long?
Yin and yang since 8th grade.
Oh wow. Okay.
And she's, how old are you? 40?
Wow, I'm only 36. She's 35.
And she's older than me. So.
Anyways.
So
But
like
yes.
a year difference?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so did you all go to school out here? Or where are you originally from?
So we're from Houston, Texas. We went to the same middle school.
Okay.
And then high school we separated, and I didn't see her again until we started working at the same place.
Okay.
So we reunited, and it feels so good.
And been stuck ever since. And it's crazy to see their boys together. Like
Really,
they treat each other like brothers. Like they're all brothers. They love each other so much.
I can see that. And so you guys did ministry together at this church that we're going to talk about. Okay.
So I was a member of this church for 8 years, and she actually recently joined.
Okay.
I think a year prior to everything happening.
Okay.
So I was there first, and then she came in.
So this friendship just basically encompassed everything, like your
Yeah,
home
like,
life,
I
your
would
work.
go visit, but I had like stuff with my old prior church, and I was like, I'm gonna see what else is out there. And then she would talk about her church all the time, and I would go visit. And so then I started going, and then that's when I ended up joining, and then becoming part of the ministry with her.
Okay. So this will be titled "Banned from the Church."
Band.
Where they do that at?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Band. Like, wow. That is.
Right.
I've never been banned, but I wanted to ban some people.
Right.
But nothing. Not for those particular reasons. Not for these particular reasons, but I've definitely been to churches where I'm just like, why is this what we're doing? Like, how do you guys call yourself disciples and Christians and leaders and act and make the decisions that you do?
Yes.
Absolutely.
So I haven't personally been banned, although there may have been sometimes some people wanted
wanted
to
to ban
me.
Yeah.
Don't tell it. But yeah, that's wow.
And so I take it very seriously when people talk about church hurt. I know a lot of people say, get over the church hurt. You need to get. That's a different kind of hurt.
It is.
Because I think when you're in church, it's not just about the church.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I'm here to serve.
Yep.
Right.
And it has everything to do with God. And anything I do, I want him to get the glory out of it.
Yes.
And so when you hurt me at that magnitude, that's different.
Mhm.
Like, that's a bigger emotional hurt. Like,
Absolutely.
you can hurt me, somebody I know in the church, but the church as a whole, you just expect different things from them. And I guess maybe that's a downfall for us, because we kind of expect that you would, what am I trying to say?
Respond different.
Yeah, have a different response as people that aren't in the church. So I want us to start by talking about the situation itself. Like, how did it come up to the fact that you all were banned from the church? Because I initially know that you all were helping another church member with some situations that was going on with their children. And then you all can kind of talk about
Okay. So before I get started, I want to piggyback on something that you just said with church hurt. Because I've dealt with that. I grew up in the church. Like, I've been in church my entire life. So I have experienced church hurt. For me personally, I was hurting for other people in this situation, not so much myself. Simply because what I never said to anybody besides my best friend is, a year before all of this happened, at this particular location, I was already halfway out the door.
Wow.
And what happened was, I ended up praying, God, show me what it is you want me to do. And he told me before I leave, I needed to go serve. And the location in which I needed to go serve was in the children's ministry. So I do believe that this, even though it sucked,
it was a reason.
it was a reason for it.
I felt that, like, I got chill bumps.
And once the assignment was done, he released me.
Yeah.
So I'm not so much hurt. I'm hurt for other people, like my best friend and my children, because this was a new church experience for her, the way that she grew up, and then our children, because they were heavily involved in the ministry.
Yes.
But for me, I do feel like my purpose was done there.
I can absolutely relate to that. I just on a not on a church level, but I know, like, before we actually started filming, I mentioned that I adopted 5 children, and I was in Fort Worth at the time, and my mom had passed, and I was like, God, why am I here? Like, all of my family is back in Houston. Why am I here?
Yeah.
And then when I got the phone call about the kids and all of that came, he was like, this is why you're here.
Yeah.
This was why I kept you here.
Yeah.
Now it makes sense.
And now this makes sense. So I get that. I get that. And then I was like, really moved the transition. Once the adoption was final, the transition to come back to Houston was seamless.
Yeah.
Right.
It was so seamless. Everything just fell in place.
Yeah,
so yeah, I wasn't
absolutely.
kicked out of Fort Worth.
Yeah.
But when I say I feel like, I feel that for real. I feel that
That's
for real.
what it was.
And sometimes our understanding isn't.
Most of the time, our understanding.
Yeah, it took a while for me to say,
kinda
okay, you
grasp
know what,
that.
it all makes sense now.
It makes sense. Yeah.
So yeah. So I guess we'll start from the beginning and kind of summarize it.
Summarize it on.
So I have dates. I'm a date kind of girl, right?
She has her receipts.
And I have receipts on my TikTok page for those. But December 15th, we get a call from a church member, and she's basically asking us to come pick up her children. She's on her way to jail. And
so wait, let me ask you this.
Yes.
So did you have a relationship with this church member already, or this is just someone you knew at church?
Very surface.
Yeah, it's a very surface relationship. So I don't know if we can talk about the camp that we have, kind of, sort of. I'll just mention it in brief.
Yeah.
So we do a summer camp, and what it was is I put in our church bulletin for people to be, if you want to audition for this camp, you can come. And what happened was she responded to that invite. And so that was my first time meeting her there.
And that was this past
That was this past camp, summer of 2023. So that's kind of where the initiation started, where I met her. And from there, it was things in passing that kind of spiraled from her meeting us at the camp.
Okay.
Yeah. So, did I miss anything?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it was our boys that kind of connected at camp, and then they kind of just like had friends that went to the church, so they
were actually together a lot
all the time.
Yes.
Yeah. Now that I'm thinking back.
Right, and so we just, as their mothers, kind of like would talk when they were with each other, and like if they had activities at the church, we would take them to activities, and then they would hang out at the activity at the church.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
But it wasn't like we were hanging out.
Hey, let's be friends.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, we go to the same church. I'm so happy to see you. Things like that.
And never noticed anything at that particular time.
Well,
that may have been like that, because sometimes you see stuff early on.
She was very mysterious, so we were just like, something is not 100% right, but we couldn't put our finger on it.
Yeah, it was things that we would see.
Yeah.
And we would ask questions, not really like being nosy, but like just wanting to know, how are you doing that? Like, what you got going on, girl?
Right.
Like, we're so proud of you. Like, this is amazing. And the way that we call her church member, the way that she responds to things, she's very short with her answers. And I think the reason for that is because she didn't want to show who she really was.
Yeah.
And she was also very soft-spoken. So that made her even more mysterious. So I would ask her a question, and she'd be like, yeah. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
So she was very soft-spoken and very short with her answers all the time.
Yeah.
It was like, girl, what else you gotta say?
Right.
Got to be something.
Right.
It's gotta be something else. So yeah.
Okay.
So how do you get to the point where you're the person that she calls when she's about to go to jail to get the kids?
I think it was the point of everything. During this time frame, she made us her baby girl's godparents.
Okay.
We had a movie premiere. She was there for that. Just occasions at church, we'll see each other and we'll actually sit down and talk. Like I think I hosted an etiquette luncheon or something. And
Girl, those are needed.
Yeah.
Like, let's have a whole podcast where you show us all how to do it. Because these young people, Jesus. Yeah. Like, Lord, okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So leading up to that, we're cheer coaches, and so we had an etiquette luncheon for our cheer girls. This is not the one we did for the church. For our cheer girls, and something happened with her house where she was, and she needed a place to stay. And so I opened up my home to her for the weekend, and she came to that. So we kind of spent time with her then, maybe asked her questions that we didn't really get 100% answers to. And so that was kind of like a moment. But even after that, it wasn't like, oh, let's hang out, let's go out, let's go do things. It was still in church passing.
Yeah, but as the baby's godparents, you guys are picking her up. You're spending time with the no.
We're only seeing them at church.
Okay,
only seeing them at church.
So had you all ever inquired about spending time with her, or y'all just
absolutely? We too busy.
Yeah, we're really.
Yeah, I know you all do it.
So this is the thing.
A lot.
Sorry.
No.
With being her godparent, like we said yes to the call. But we were also thinking, it wouldn't be a lot because of how close-knit you would see her with her baby. And we didn't really know. We loved her enough to say yes, but didn't know her enough to ask her.
Okay.
Can we get her?
I mean, and we were never like, we've taken baby boy home before, and we were never invited into her home, so we never really felt comfortable, like just like, oh girl, can we, have baby girl? So we just never asked.
Okay, I can see that. But his dress, you'd be like, oh yeah, I'd be that girl.
Mm-hmm.
Like, here goes some dresses.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we were planning on
to
doing
do
that.
that.
We love
Yeah.
James Avery. We were gonna get her a christening bracelet from James Avery. Just spoil her because we're boy moms.
Yeah.
And the only time we get to have daughters are when we coach, and so we want to have girls around.
Yeah.
It was exciting for us, and so
Okay.
And so you guys go and pick both kids up that day.
So I get the call, and she says, I can't wait. They're going to take me. Can you come get my kids? Mind you, she's not from here. She doesn't have any family or any friends here. So I'm assuming that's why I was the first person that she called. So I go there. There's a constable there. Big boy is there, and the baby is there. She's already gone. And so a lot of stuff is happening at this moment while I'm there. I see that big boy has a gash on his eye. He's bleeding. Baby girl is like getting ready to like lay down. He's walking, putting her to bed. And the constable's talking to me, and he's like, we're waiting on CPS to come. And I'm thinking to myself, CPS, what are they coming for? And I'm thinking like he had a scuffle with the police or something. They did something and she got upset and they had to take her to jail and stuff like that. And I didn't find out really what happened, so I kind of overheard him telling, what really happened to CPS.
So you all waited for CPS to get there. Mm-hmm. Once CPS arrived, how did that look?
So I gave them some privacy. I was in church member's bedroom with the baby because she was starting to wake up, and kind of like looking to see what it is that I can get for her, and kind of like calling her because she was like fussy. And so I could hear the conversation that they were having, but I really couldn't hear. But what I could hear was, mom did this and hit me, and I'm just like, she did what? I'm saying to myself, like, ain't no way. And I hate to say it, but since I'm a teen boy mom, I'm like, oh, he must have did something.
Yeah,
and she responded. He done clowned and acted up, and she done did something. She just couldn't take it no more. She got 6-month-old. But that wasn't the case. And he started telling, he hadn't been in school for 2 months. He shouldn't be in the grade that he was in. He should be in a grade, is it 2 grades above?
2 grades higher.
2 grades higher. He hadn't been in school for months. She was keeping him at home and abusing him for a very long time.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So this abuse, after hearing that conversation, does it seem like it's something that kind of had been happening?
No. Honestly, absolutely not, because we've seen them so many times. And every time we've seen them, he's a very quiet, reserved person. Except when he's around our boys, he comes alive. Mm-hmm. So in passing, it just looks like she's a successful mom with a newborn baby and a teenage son, and they're living their best life. There were no signs of any abuse, no signs that she had any issues within herself or anything. It looked like the perfect picture.
So, because it wasn't looking like a struggle. You know how some people struggle financially or struggle to have things going on. It could cause you to kind of...
Yep.
But it didn't look that way.
Yeah, she has like 4 really expensive cars. Like we would see her in different cars. She had like a G-Wagon, a Range Rover, and like 2 small maybe BMWs. And so we were like, oh, this is cool.
Like she doing it.
Yeah, and we were really intrigued and like really proud of her and wanted to know, how we could. And we did not expect that at all.
Wow. So after CPS came, you were allowed to take the kids, both of them?
Mm-hmm. I was allowed to take both of them. I was on the phone with her trying to figure out, what can you find out? Because she's Miss Investigator over here. She's able to find out a lot of things. And so she was researching, and I was, just trying to make sure that they were good. So what happened was I needed a car seat. I had to go buy a car seat for her. And when I got back, of course, we waited for CPS. And once that was all good, he checked out baby girl. She was fine. I told big boy to pack whatever you need to pack because I don't know how long your mom is going to be in there. Literally everything that he had could fit in a school backpack. He didn't have much of anything.
In this nice house with all these
Well,
cars.
they were already out of the house. So
okay.
so they were in the house. They got kicked out of that house. She needed to stay with me for a weekend. She moved into some apartments. They
Okay.
were really nice apartments, like really beautiful. And so pack up everything that you can. Everything fit in his backpack. And I was like, "Is that it?" He was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Well, okay, let's go." Baby girl was breastfed, so she asked us to get her oat milk, which
Like
was
the oat milk you buy from the stores. Like
Regular?
I drink oat milk.
Yes.
regular
Regular
organic oat milk.
And she was 6 months?
Yes.
Yep. She said give her oat milk. She has like some organic baby foods in there, like rice and some other little like fruit, the little
Like
pouches.
snacks. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was it. Give her that.
So did they look like they were eating? Like
Nope.
they didn't seem to. Did you see? You know how when you have children, because one of my bonus children kind of had this when they would come. It was just like, and I was like, you don't
Yes,
have
that's
to.
how he would eat.
That's
Like you
how
don't
he would
have to
eat,
hide
yes.
food. You
That's
don't
how
have
he
to.
would
Hoarding, like I deal
Or,
with
like,
my
you don't
kids,
have
they
to
they
do
would
that.
hoard food. They would hoard their belongings. They would keep them all in the bed
Yep.
with them for a very, very long time. Everything was kept under their covers.
Because they were just so scared.
They were
I'm
just
not gonna be
scared.
able
Yeah.
to-
I just-
Wow.
That's
crazy.
exactly what it was. I remember when they came over for those 2 days to spend the night. I had cooked some curry oxtails and some rice.
And you ain't called.
Okay.
I'm just
Okay.
saying, it was bomb.
Right, friend.
Okay.
But I cooked just enough for the boys, and literally the amount of food that he had, I was like, "Big boy, you're gonna have to make sure everybody gets some." And he was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," but he ate, and every time I would cook, I would notice how much he ate. Now they did live an organic lifestyle, like she preferred like natural foods, which is fine,
But you still have to have enough of it.
Yeah.
enough of it.
Yes.
He was not eating, and that's what he told us. There would be days when he would not eat.
Yeah.
So.
Organic or not.
Organic
they
or
were
not.
being neglected.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then
Or
you're not
even-
in school.
Yep.
So
Right.
that means you're not
Right.
even eating during the day.
Right. Or he would have like day old
Yep.
or days old food.
She tried to
And-
feed him 5-day-old broccoli, and it was bad. And because he wouldn't eat it, she threw the pot at him and the broccoli at him at the door and told him to get out. Yeah, he was barely eating. You could tell because you could see his bones in his chest. You could see he wasn't eating.
That's
That's so heartbreaking.
it is.
So
And then you
heartbreaking.
said so he wasn't going to school. What about like, and again, just kind of mirrors some of the stuff that I experienced, like with my kids. My baby girl was caught up on her immunizations and stuff because she had been in foster care since she was 2 months old. But the 2 youngest boys, it took me almost 2 years to catch their immunizations up because they hadn't had any immunizations. Now the 2 oldest boys had theirs because they were in school. But the 2 that hadn't made it to school yet, we were on a catch-up plan for almost 2 years
Wow.
because they hadn't had any immunizations. They had had no prenatal care. Just, you know, just a lot.
So with baby girl, church member stated that she doesn't really exist. So this was supposed
Wait, who doesn't exist?
the baby. Because she was supposed to be born off the grid. No one was supposed to be know about her. So when she had her in the hospital, she refused to get a birth certificate made for the baby and a social security card. So literally right now, there is no proof that this baby even exists. Like
Outside of the fact that you can see her,
Correct.
touch her, feed her.
absolutely, she wanted her to be non-existent, and
That's scary.
Was there a reason
That's
for that?
scary.
Did she ever kind of say?
she just wanted her to be born off the grid.
That is
She
scary.
doesn't, right? Because she like doesn't feel like, she feels like hospitals are like weird. And then
feels
they
like-
like do things to your baby.
No,
in
that
the
is
hospital.
scary
She
because
feels
what?
like people
How
are
many?
watching her.
How many shows have we seen where people have these kids? Well, oh wait, there was a 2-year-old running around there yesterday, and now they're gone.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
That's
That was-
scary.
That was one of our fears when we, you know, when she
Because
had her
there's-
back. We're like, what happens if she leaves
There's
the
no
state of
proof that
Texas?
if
no
there's no
one
proof
knows.
that she exists.
Right,
What happens if
right.
Exactly.
No one's gonna look
if
for
she
her.
doesn't exist anymore?
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah, so she's running around even now with nothing.
So even you don't know whether or not CPS is like they wouldn't. How is she in their system?
I don't even really think that she is.
I mean, she's documented.
Yeah,
like
she's documented.
they're documenting her, but like she doesn't have a birth certificate.
Okay.
She doesn't have any of those things. So it's really
That's
just
crazy.
because they know that she's a
person.
Yeah.
She's actually here. That's
Right.
insane.
Wow. How long was she in there?
In jail, Mom.
So she was in jail from December 15th until maybe a day or two after Christmas because we had the kids on Christmas Day. And so I want to say maybe the 27th she got out.
So you actually had to do Christmas with her. So not only do I have to do this for our boys, now I have to do extra. With no assistance apparently from your church or from her family or anything.
And we did reach out to our church for assistance, and we had our ministry leaders do it. They wanted to do it. They were like, you have these, this person's kids. Let's see what the church could do. And it was nothing. They literally just sent us like resources for like CPS and like.
So we're talking about, because you haven't named the church, but we're
It's a
talking
large
about we're
church.
talking about a very large, very public church that have people who would be recognized across the country.
Right.
That kind of church.
Said to you, here's the number to the Houston Food Bank. Here's the number to CPS. Not that you haven't already been in touch with them because I got these kids considering XYZ. And there you go.
That was it. That was all we got.
So we're talking, they're probably bringing in millions of dollars worth of
Without
tithes
a
and
doubt.
offering,
Without a doubt.
driving crazy expensive cars, yet they have church members.
In need.
Who's assisting
Other church
another church member.
Yep. So I
And
saw
they
that
say you're called
email.
food bank.
Yep.
And for the record, I've been to the food bank.
Yes.
It is hard to get a freaking appointment to pick up some
Absolutely.
food.
Absolutely.
And then it's gonna depend on what kind of food you get.
That's it. They don't give you much.
And they ain't giving you baby food.
Yeah, right.
Especially organic oat milk or whatever.
Oh no, we had to figure that out.
So I have, we have friends and family that have younger kids. Me and Ashley, our kids are 15 and 12, almost 13. So I'm like, I don't know what to get her. I know that this oat milk is not working because her stomach is killing her.
She shouldn't have that.
And me and Ash would...
Because even if she's drinking a soy milk, it should be something that's made by Gerber or somebody.
Yeah, and so there was like nights where she'd be sleeping and she'd wake up and she'd be crying because her stomach hurts. So I'm like rubbing her stomach and like trying to get her to be... My son had colic when he was little, so I'm like, this is colic. And so I asked family and friends, like, what are you giving your children? And so they ended up sending us information on an organic formula.
And even on the standpoint, like you get, since CPS was involved, they gave you a caseworker? Did you guys ever talk to a caseworker?
So I would message him all the time, and the responses I would get would be like, I'm working on it, or okay.
Wow.
Like it was more so me reaching out, and I get it. The load is heavy. Yeah. I get it. But at the same time, I'm actively messaging you. I actively have questions. Respond. Tell me something.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say, again, not the same situation, but I had an amazing caseworker. And she was like, these are your resources. We're going to make sure we take care of daycare. We're going to have they had a nutritionist come out. They set up the nutritionist to come out and see my baby girl once a week along with the physical therapist. They had all of that arranged so that all of that can be done. So when I say workloads, I think they're just some trifling, lazy ass people out there who don't want to do their job. And because of that, children are being neglected.
I agree because this wasn't the first time that they've had a CPS case. The first worker said that the church member was too difficult to deal with. So
that's your
they
job.
dropped the case.
So I'm just gonna drop it, and whatever happened to the kids happened.
I mean, these kids have been failed for a long time. And even from when baby girl was born
in the hospital,
they failed the baby girl because they already knew that church member had issues. It's all documented that she was being very like rude and she wasn't cooperative, very combative, always arguing about food, always just upset with them, not refusing to sign everything, and they just let her walk out of the hospital.
So it sounds like she had some type of mental issue.
That's what I was going to
That they let her walk out the hospital with the baby.
Yeah. She said that they were kidnapping her, and that she left because she was being kidnapped.
So obvious mental health issues,
right.
and they're just like, okay, your 2 days are up.
Well, they called her mom and told her that they don't think that she should leave with the baby.
But what do you? That's
But they didn't call her.
But she's still
left
left
right?
She's still left with the baby.
That's a whole nother podcast because that's some BS right there. Like that,
right, for real.
Parts of this just made me so mad,
Yeah.
so mad. Just because it's like you just said, like they fail these kids. You fail these kids, and then you're on TV in a year, and you're like, I had no idea.
Yep, exactly.
Until all of the freaking paperwork comes up, it's like, oh yeah, you did have an idea.
Right.
That's right.
You did have an idea. You didn't do your damn job, and your supervisor didn't do her job or his job because they weren't.
No, you're right.
It's frustrating.
It's scary.
It's scary.
Because that most definitely you hear that a lot in the system. That these babies are just put out there like this is what's going to happen. I remember my bonus daughter when we first got her. She was 8, and I remember them calling, and they were like, "She getting ready to go in the system. Come get her, or this is what's going to happen."
That's crazy.
We hadn't seen her in like 4 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So he's devastated because at this point her jaw has been broken. She's been abused. It's been a lot that has happened. So he's devastated, and I done just had 2 babies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like I gotta wrap my whole mind around this. And then I had my oldest who's a teenager, and she's a girl. So she kind of going through that. I don't know how this other child has been raised. But I can't
have a
leave
very
her
good
there.
idea how she's been raised because her jaw's been broken. You have a very good idea.
So I don't know, because when I was younger, my mom and dad adopted. My middle brother is adopted. We had his sister. She had so many issues that she would always think somebody was trying to molest her. She would like tear up my clothes. Because my mom and dad was pretty well off when I was growing up. So all the nice things she felt like I had, she would like tear it up. She would just like, I'm like 10.
Yeah.
You're like, what the heck?
What is wrong with this girl? She's crazy. Mama, why is she here?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not understanding. My brother was malnutrition. I used to say, Mama, he looks like he's from Ethiopia.
We talked about this.
Yes. I was like, he's not cute. Like,
could you have gotten a cute kid?
Oh my
why is his stomach so big?
Oh my God.
Like his hair nappy. Like,
oh my goodness.
he was just but he was so scared. I had never seen anything. And as a 10-year-old who parents lived pretty well, the people we were around kind of lived pretty well. And you don't know any better. You're just like, he's sick, and you picked him. I'm confused. Like, I'm confused.
Like, out of all the kids in the lineup, that's the one you got.
Like, they gave us a whole book. And you said, oh, pick him. Right there. Like, we would laugh about it as he got older.
Yeah, of course.
Right. But, so I know what could happen.
Yeah.
I remember her she's darker complected. The foster parents would beat her.
Oh my goodness.
They would lock her like in closets. They would molest her. Like a lot of the older men would molest her from foster home to foster home. So like I literally remember this as a kid, not understanding why she would act the way she would act. Right. But then when you start finding out these things. Yeah. So the fact that I'm not saying all caseworkers. Right. But the foster system has to do better.
Oh, absolutely.
CPS has to do better. Like, it is insane what these kids go through. And I understand trying to get them back to their parents. Yeah. Because that's the goal.
That's the goal.
Time,
it's
right?
Reunification. They say that is the goal. Is
reunite them with their families. But when you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
That is insane.
Absolutely.
That they're just paperwork for you.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
Let's get them back over here because I don't feel like talking to these foster parents all the time.
Right.
Let's send them back over there. So once you went to jail, you had them for a while.
For about 2 weeks, right? About 2 weeks. So did you see a change in personality?
Oh, yeah.
All those things with those 2 weeks?
So the baby, she just blossomed. I mean, she was like, well, I'm a clown, so but she was just like laughing and responding to everybody. Like, I think my whole family were clowns, right? And so she would just be like, "Oh my God, these people! I love y'all!" Like, you know, her eyes were big. She was curious, and every time we had seen her prior, her mom would just hold her like this and barely let anyone, you can see her but you can't really touch her. So she's just used to looking around like this, but when we got her, she was just like a whole new person.
Wow.
And then Big Boy, as long as he was around the boys, they were, you know, they're all teenagers, they're on the phone with girls and playing video games. I mean, so for me, it looked like he was happy to have a part of the life that he should have back.
And not be so much a parent.
Not be so much a parent.
And he was able to, be a kid. And like, I believe you said it on your on TikTok that like, there were things that he wasn't expected to do whenever, you know.
And that's hard too, because
Right.
did he interject himself at first a lot? And I said it because my oldest boy, we still, for a long time, it was like, I got it.
Yep.
I'm gonna. At the time, I was Aunt Kim. You know what I'm saying? I'm Aunt Kim.
Right.
I got it. I'll take
Exactly.
care of it. I'll feed them.
Yep.
Right.
I'll change them.
Yep.
I'll
That
make
was
sure
it.
that they go to the bathroom. You just go play.
That's
Yeah.
exactly,
That was our
those were the
daughter,
exact words that I would tell him.
Yeah.
Because he was, first of all, I mentioned he wasn't in school, but when I asked him the whys, it was because, for one, his mom said that she was preparing him for prison life. She wanted him to get up early before the baby got up, take a shower, make his bed, tend to the baby. That's what he was programmed and conditioned to do. And he was like, why do I have to do this? Why can't I be in school? It was because I'm getting you ready for prison life.
Wow.
That was
Because I'm speaking this over you.
And you said we can't put cuss words on YouTube.
So when he got with me,
You'll bleep them out.
when he got with me in reference to that, he would get up early. I was like, you don't have to do that here. Because we would take turns with the baby. Because, you know, we've been out the game for a minute. So, you know, she'll spend the night in my house, spend the night at her house. But I was like, you don't have to do that, baby. Be a kid while you're here. Spend time with your sister, of course.
Right.
I know you
Yeah.
love her, but
But you don't have
you're
to.
not
You don't have to
responsible.
parent her.
You don't have to parent her.
You can be her brother.
Yep,
Right.
exactly.
We
Be her
purposely would be like, pretty much because it was Christmas break, if I had baby girl at my house the night and that next day I would go over there and hang out with them, right? But we would make sure that, like, you know, here's your sister, you can see her, but you don't have to do anything
Yeah, you
for
don't have to
her.
feed her. You
And
don't have to
even when
change her.
we're
You don't
out
have to
and
bathe her.
about,
You
I'm
just-
like, you don't have to hold her.
Yep.
We'll hold her.
Go
We'll
have
go have fun
fun.
with the boys.
And we intentionally went everywhere we could think of. I mean, we had them at arcades,
paintballing.
yeah, Texans games. I mean, everything you can think of. We were like, let's go do it.
Good. That's it.
Because he needed that experience.
He
so.
did.
You know, when we took the kids paintballing or to Topgolf, he said, my son said, have you ever been to Topgolf? And every time my son would ask him, have you ever been here? Have you ever been here? He'd be like, well, my mom said that she was going to take me, but I never went. Or I was supposed to go, but something happened and I never went. And he would always get kind of like sad because he had never gone to these places. So he was super happy to be able to go do all these things.
So let me ask you this: did you ever have conversations with your sons separate that says, "Hey, their life is different. His life has been different, and because of that, there's some things that maybe we ask that may, you know, be hard for him. So maybe let's just enjoy." Because I know I've had those. Even though my boys now have experienced a lot of things and they do a lot of things for the same reasons, right? I want them to see things and do things.
Yeah.
We have people that we know that are less privileged. There was like this past Christmas, you know, we went and picked up someone and they were like, "What did you get for Christmas?"
Yeah.
They hadn't got anything.
Yeah.
You know? And they, you know, he was like, "Well, when income tax time comes, I'll get XYZ." Right? And I get it.
Yeah.
But then I have to explain to the boys that everybody,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes the excitement is, but, you know, because then it's like, well, why didn't you get anything?
Yeah.
And, you know,
Our boys are very compassionate. Like, if you ever meet them, for them, it may look like they have a lot because we do a lot, but hell, we ain't got a lot either. So they know it, right?
You sound like me. I be telling everybody we live in paycheck to almost paycheck.
Like,
Don't play about
we
it.
don't
Paycheck
act
to
like
Mama's
that.
paycheck over here.
And they're very compassionate. So I'm pretty sure when Jaden was asking, it wasn't like, oh, have you ever been? Because, he's like,
yeah.
No,
No, I wouldn't think it would be,
compassionate.
you know what I'm saying? I just know that personally, even though I've just had to have those conversations, you know that everybody isn't always where
Yeah, they know.
Right.
we are.
Oh, yeah.
And even though we have our own struggle, you guys are more blessed than
Yes,
you realize that
absolutely.
you are. So if someone says they didn't get anything, let it go.
Yeah, like they weren't prime. They were
No,
very.
no.
They
They're
were
kids.
They're kids,
Yeah.
but they're teenagers, so
They're
they
kids.
knew that this
They knew
is
the
different.
situation.
Yes,
It hurt
I mean,
them.
we told
Yeah.
like
They
our
were in
kids were in
tears.
tears. They
Oh
were
my
very
God.
upset when they had to go back. They were very upset that the stuff that happened to them happened to them. And when a lot of times, like my son would, like if we had the kids or whatever, and I'm like, can you hold him? He would make sure that like baby boy didn't have to do it.
Yeah.
Like our sons would step up like, oh no, I got it, or I'll watch
That's
it real
so
quick for
sweet.
you, because they knew what he had been through, and they
Yeah.
just wanted him to be a kid.
Yeah.
You know.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
That is so sweet. So you guys ended up let's get to the band part. How did you get banned? Like from this mega church that gave you paper resources
Right.
to help with these babies.
Man.
Well, let's say this, and then that's going to take you to that.
Yeah.
So you end up getting her out of jail.
Oh yeah, that's
You
right.
end up getting her out of jail. What made
Jesus.
you all decide that you were going to take on that responsibility?
Because we had talked to Big Boy about it, and he wanted her out of jail, and I don't think it was because I think it was guilt. You know, he didn't want his mom in jail.
Yeah, it's still
And
his
so
mom.
when we would talk to him and ask him, he would say yes. And so even the day that she picked a church member up, Big Boy was with me, with our boys. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna leave. We're gonna go meet Ashley because mom's getting out of jail. And his facial expression was everything. And I was like, oh crap.
What do we
But
do?
when we did it, we went to the Bells Bowling place together. And the entire time I was like, just didn't feel right. Like I wanted to throw up because I just didn't feel like it was the right thing to do. But I was thinking about, the kid. I just thought that it was the right thing to do at that time,
Yeah.
based on what was going on.
But you kind of had a
And
little
I,
gut feeling.
for
as
sure.
well.
And like, Ash was like, are you sure? She would like reset, and I'm like, yeah, it's fine. But I really didn't want to do it.
And she should have told
And
me
I
that,
should
because
have
I would have
told
been like,
her.
okay, well, let's go, let's dip.
I should have. But I didn't, because I just didn't. I don't know. I thought we were doing the right thing at the time. Had I known what happened right after she got them back, I would have never done that. But at the time we thought it was right, and so we did
Can
it.
you share what she did
What
right after
happened
she got
after
them
she got
back?
them back?
Or you prefer
Oh,
not
that, I mean, that's a whole thing. We end up with the kids again. So we get her out, and keep in mind, y'all, we did not use any of our money. We had to find a way to get her money, and so we got her money and built her out. The part that she did not say is that she put up her car as collateral with these bellsmen. You have to put something up for collateral, and it was her car. So that's a big thing. So when we get her out, I actually go pick her up, and then, that's a whole thing in itself. I'll mention it real quick. She gets in the car, and the baby's in the back seat, and she sees the baby and hears the baby. And she's like, can I get in the back seat with the baby? And I'm like, yeah. And so she gets in the back seat, and she sees her, and she's like, Ashley, is this my baby? And I'm like, yeah, it's your baby. She goes, oh, she looks so different. Are you sure this is my baby? And I'm like,
you crazy heifer.
yeah, it's your baby. So she
You think
gets
I brought
her,
somebody else's baby?
yeah, and holds her, and she's just like, and then so the baby's kind of like looking at me, and she's like, Ashley, I think she thinks you're her mom. And so she has that in her head now, because the baby's like responding to me when I talk. I called her Mamacita. I was like, hey, Mamacita, and she would just like light up, right? And so I was like, I think that she knows that you're her mom. She was like, no, I think she thinks you're her mom. So that, I have to put that out there. And so we picked her up. We meet at church member's house because she has Big Boy, and I don't know if she's happy to see Big Boy or not. It doesn't look like it, but they go upstairs. So in days past, I think it was like the next day, or two, my mom ends up having a seizure. So I'm like in the hospital with my mom, and actually it was 2 days. My mom has a seizure, and I'm in the hospital with her. And overnight, and the next morning, I get a call from his grandma, and she's like, "Hey, big boy has ran away. It happened again." And so he runs away to this corner store, and this lady at the corner store, he has on no shoes, he has on anything. He's just like, "I need to use the phone." So he calls grandma and he calls me. Before we drop him off, him and I established a safe code that he can text me just in case anything happens, so that she's not suspicious of anything. And I never got that text. It was a phone call, and kind of you come
right. So she got the phone call, and then she ended up hanging up with them and calling me. And so then either you gave me her number or the lady who had him called me, and she was like, "Hey, I said, "Hey, do you have my godson so and so?" And she was like, "Yeah, who are you?" And I was like, "I'm Brittney." And then so she put Big Boy on the phone to confirm who I was and who I was to him. And he was like, "Yeah, that's Brittney. That's my godmother." So she was like, "Okay." So she tells me, "Well, I'm at Walmart and I'm going to buy him some shoes and then we will meet up." So I'm like, "Great, just call me back whenever you're ready. I'll be on the way to come get him." So she didn't call back. So I'm like, "What's going on?" So I call her and she doesn't answer. So I'm like, "Okay," I'm like, "She hasn't answered. I'm, still waiting. I want to get, whatever." So then she calls me and she's like, "Hey, I'm on the phone with, or I talked to his dad, and his dad wants us to take him to this other person's house." And I'm like, "Whoa, what? Who's the other person?" Because they don't know anybody in Houston. So where are they going? So I'm like, "Hold on real quick. I'm going to get his other godmom on the phone, and we're all going to get on the phone together." So stepmom, dad, the lady who has him, and then us two are on the phone, and we're like, "Where is he going?" And then it gets really heated because we're like, "Who are these
had
people?"
him this entire time. We because church member told us that he didn't exist.
Right.
So we're like, "Who are you? Like, why are you trying to be in the picture? We've had him this entire time."
So dad doesn't exist.
Dad
Right.
What they're thinking.
is what church member says,
Right.
that he doesn't exist. And indeed, he actually does, because he's been trying to get a hold of him for the longest. So to make a long story short, he ends up coming. Dad says, "Okay, I didn't know all of this was happening. He's okay to go with you guys." This is like right before New Year's Day, and they bought a plane ticket to come down here to see him, to put eyes on him, to make sure that he was okay. So we end up getting baby boy back. He's with us. Mom doesn't know. She's not calling around checking. New Year's Eve comes, and I get a call from church member's mom that says, "Church member is trying to hurt herself and the baby. I need you to go over there." So I call her. We ride out. I call the cops. I'm like,
Oh, thank God somebody called the cops.
yeah, I call the cops because I asked Big Boy, "Do you know if your mom have any guns or anything in the house like that? Because we got to get back home to our kids."
Yeah.
Call the cops. They come, they go up first to try to make contact with her. She's not responsive because she doesn't want to deal with them. So then we go up with the cops with us. She opens the door, "Hey, whatever." She falls into my arms. She grabs the baby because, I end up texting church member, "Hey, are you okay? We're worried about the baby." She was like, "I'm worried about us too." And I said, "I'm on the way." And so we go. She falls into my arms. She grabs the baby. And there's like this whole situation with the cops and the EMT. That escalated. She ended up going to the hospital and being transferred to a mental institution for another 2 weeks. So now we have Big Boy and we have the baby all over.
And of course, she's an adult, so you don't know what her diagnosis was.
Exactly.
That kind of thing. They took her probably to Harris Center.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
So had there been any talk from her mom about what the diagnosis is?
So absolutely not. But mom said that her brother has, church member's brother was diagnosed schizophrenic, bipolar, paranoid type thing.
Like paranoid, schizophrenic.
I said that backwards. Amen. and mom said that there is a history of mental health and that she noticed it, but church member never really got the help. So when things escalated that night on the 31st, police took her to a hospital. From there, because the caseworker ended up calling me to find out what's going on, and I would talk to her.
So
for
this is the caseworker from the hospital. Okay.
From there, she was transferred to the actual institution, which means she really needed help. They saw something in her in those 3 days and said, "Okay, we got to get her to a serious hospital."
Yeah.
And they call. I know that there was a diagnosis because they called me and was like, "Hey, we need an address to send her medicine to."
Yeah, they will actually give them and I've dealt with like hair center.
Yes.
And they will give them the diagnosis. So what they would have done, they wouldn't have let her out until she was stable. So she would have been on her medications.
Yeah.
They would have diagnosed her, been on her medication. She would have been okay.
Okay.
And then they would have let her go.
Yeah.
Once she was stable.
Yeah.
The trick is to get them to take the meds when they leave.
Yeah.
Because if not, they just
Absolutely not. So I think she was there for about 2 weeks almost.
Right. Yeah.
Makes
She. Yeah. She only whenever she would call us, it would just be for baby girl.
Yep.
She
for
never
big boy.
asked about big boy, and then I think I brought up big boy because she ended up calling and saying that the baby girl was too young to go, and I was like, well, do you want to see big boy? And she was like, yeah, that's fine. And then she just wasn't happy with us.
So did Big Boy go?
Oh, absolutely not. Nobody went with me to go.
No.
When it was time to pick her up, nobody went with me to go get her. I went by myself, and another situation happened. I ended up leaving her ass right there where she was at. And 2 days later, I get a call saying that she needs a monitor. Will we be it? In summary, I said absolutely not. So she ends up finding someone who we think that she paid to be a monitor. What we found out later is that CPS is actually supposed to give you a monitor, and this person is just someone who's in place that's not supposed to. She's not supposed to be without the monitor at all, left alone with the children.
Yeah.
So they came and picked up baby girl that night, and
Her and the monitor.
and the monitor. Baby boy, was already not with us, and that
so
was that.
when she and the monitor came to pick up baby girl, was she like, "Where's my son?"
She had asked earlier that day, and the response I gave her was that she needs to contact his father, and left it at that. So then that leads us up to maybe 2 or 3 weeks later at church.
So now here's the church situation. So baby boy is not at church with you. She's at church with the baby. Okay, and so you haven't talked to her or anything since all of this had happened.
And the monitor is supposed to be there too?
Yes.
Okay.
But there was no monitor.
So before all of this, because she bailed her out, church member is supposed to do a check-in. And I think the check-in was 2 days a week. And all you have to do is download an app, press a button, and check in. Okay? That was not happening. So now she's at risk for either being responsible to pay the full $6,000 or they come get her car. Right? So this particular Sunday, it was the first Sunday of February, we noticed that she's there at church. And when we see her, she has the baby inside of a baby carrier attached to her. And she's hugging people, and we're looking like, where is her monitor? Like, nobody's here with her.
Because she's only supposed to be with the baby with the monitor.
Correct.
Supervised visitation at this time. Supervised
Absolutely.
with the baby. Okay.
24 hours. She cannot be left alone without that monitor present at all, for no reason.
Like, why would they even give her the... No, okay,
Yeah,
go ahead, girl.
at all.
CPS.
Right.
So I see it. I send it to Big Boy's parents so that they can, because at this time she had a new caseworker. It wasn't the one that I was dealing with. They had transferred it to like a family service or something, to which they had contact, with. So they sent it to them, and there was no response, and we kind of left it at that. And so service goes on, and have a good time. Then service ends, and usually after service, like we didn't serve this Sunday, so we were in the sanctuary. But after service, our boys are usually cleaning up the sanctuary, like picking up chairs, folding tables, cleaning up a certain part. So we're like, okay, this is going to take a while. This particular Sunday was overflow service. And what that means is people have left, but the pastor is still praying for people. People are still in service, worshiping God. So this is, it's happening. So we decided to go back in the church. And then I'll let her tell it because I need a damn joint.
So we decided to go back in the church because, like she said, our boys were working. So we're like, we'll just go back in there and wait for them. And then we were walking, and I was like, hey, there's church member. Let's go check on her and just make sure she's good. And I promise you, it was so genuine. We were just like, oh my gosh, we haven't seen baby girl. Like, let's just go make sure that they're okay. And we're also going to ask, like, hey, can you check in? What's going on?
Because I'm not trying to give people my call.
Yeah, I mean, just very, just genuinely just want to check on them.
And that's the least you can do, right?
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, push a button. That's it. So I
put
went
my
over
card
there.
for you to be free.
Yes.
Push the button.
Right.
That's it.
I don't understand. So we sat down, and it's like church member, myself, and then Ashley, and we're talking. Like, church member gives me a hug, and we're just talking about how to check in, and baby girl's like trying her best to get out of that carrier to come to me, and I swear I just wanted to grab her, but because she had previously said she thinks that you're her mom.
Yeah, she covered the baby's face so she couldn't look at me.
Right. So she
was like this with the baby.
Yeah.
So she couldn't see me.
Yeah, because she knows that baby girl lights up whenever she's around us. So she didn't want. So I was like, didn't want to grab her because I didn't want anything to happen. Right. So I'm asking her like, hey, how are you? They've been calling about you not checking in. Have you been checking in? She's like, I did check in. And I'm like, well, they're calling and saying that you haven't. Do you need help with that? And she was like, well, I called them, but they don't answer. So I'm like, okay,
use the app.
That's all you gotta do.
So then I was like, do you need help downloading the app? She's like, well, I can't because my phone needs this. It was the reason why she couldn't do it. So she's like, she's like standing up, but she's like not even really listening. She's like looking around or whatever. But like I'm trying to relay the message to her because it's really loud in the church. So she's telling me something, I tell her, right? So then she then switches it over to asking where is Big Boy. And I'm like, I don't know where Big Boy is. So then I go to tell her what she said, and then she ends up asking her, where is Big Boy? And then, she's like, you're going to have to speak with his father. We don't know. Light bulb. Like, everything just switched. And her whole face changed.
Yeah.
Everything changed. And she was like, he abused us. You don't know what he did to me and Big Boy. And we're just like, because we had already talked to his dad, and we're like,
we got to know them.
Yeah, we love them.
I can see that the pictures that you showed us.
Yeah.
They look
we love them. Like, they're
like
family
stepmom
forever.
looks like so.
That's mama.
That's right. That's mom. And so we're like, like side eye. I'm like, that don't sound right, but okay. And she's like, did you ask Big Boy what he did for this to happen to him? And we're just like, there's no reason that this happened to him. So then, Ash is like, let's go outside because it's very loud in here. We'll go outside and talk. I'm like, great, we're going to go outside and talk.
Yeah, like we're going to
adult. It's going to be great, right? Right. Like, we're going to have fun. It's going to be fine. Everyone's going to be happy. I turn around to grab our stuff. I turn around and she punches her in the face, and then they're falling onto a chair.
The church member punches
Ashley in the face.
And I'm a fighter, y'all. I'm from the streets, but not in the church.
Yeah. Like, she would never do that in church.
Yeah.
And she had the baby on her.
Yes. And so I was like, what is happening? So everyone's screaming and like trying to pull her off, and I'm trying to grab
and prayer is still going on.
God, I love you. God, I thank you. All you hear is chairs just going clank, 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 clank. Whoa!
It's like really
like, what is this? The
Did y'all really just find Jesus in the building? Really going on?
He knocking chairs around.
That's serious. For real.
so much noise, and I'm like, oh my god! Like, and then like I'm
So what is your
panic and embarrassed?
I'm like panicking because I'm like, how did this happen? Like, I just turned around, and then also like she's my best friend, so I'm like, get over her, like leave her alone, and like I'm like trying to figure out like what to do, like trying to put. I shouldn't say that. Like sneaking punches, like trying to get her to move.
You finna get up.
But also,
the baby
girl
here.
is crying,
Yeah.
and all you hear is her crying. I'm like, at this point, I'm just trying to unbuckle the strap and get her out. But she was the way that she was holding Ashley down on her. I could not get baby girl out, and so when they finally, separated everybody.
Because what she did say, and I'm going to say it, my big ass landed on top of her.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? So I was on top of the baby. I don't know how it happened. And I heard the baby crying. And I was trying to lift myself up off of church member and the baby. So
is church member at this point holding you
Yes.
to not let you
everybody
go?
has my hair, y'all. Woo, everybody.
And it's like men and women.
Yeah,
like trying
Because
to get
people at
everybody.
this point think
So
you done jumped
I'm the
because you're on
aggressor.
top.
Because you're on top.
And there's a baby.
And, right. And so once they move everybody out of the way, you know, church member is like, yelling like, they stole from me and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, we didn't steal nothing from you. I even think I said shit in church. And I'm like, we didn't steal shit from you, girl. We had your kids.
Right.
Like, what are you talking about? Don't lie to these people because they're the people
And they're yelling
were
at me.
us, yelling at her, like just. They're like, this is church. We're like, we know that.
Like, this is not what we was trying to do.
And so I, you know, she's sitting down. I look over, and church member is literally just milking this. Like she's laying in somebody else's arms. They're coddling her, and I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yep.
Like this was all her.
Like this
was
has
not,
to be a movie.
right?
This
So
cannot
then
be
you know,
real.
security.
And I'm sitting there like bleeding, just
Yeah,
blood.
she's bleeding.
Have scratches and blood and
On her
There's still a
chest.
scar. I don't know if JB want to zoom in on that. There's still a scar right
And
here.
he'll zoom in for
That's
real.
like, you know, just like the residue left
Right.
over from that. My face was bleeding and everything.
Like we can show you.
We'll
pictures.
upload
It
a
was
picture.
really bad, and
Yeah.
it was just like how. It was crazy. So we went. We went to the restroom, and I'm like, I'm about to go get our ministry leaders because they know us, and no one's believing that it's not us. Like they were literally looking at us like we had attacked this girl. So I run to go get one of the leaders, and so she comes. They're amazing.
They're the best.
They're the best. They come and they come in the restroom and talk to Ashley. Ashley's like starts crying. Everything just happens and we're like, it's not us. And then the second leader comes in and is like, what happened? Yeah, she's like, what is happening? We're like, it's not us. And she's like, I know.
But
and
still,
like,
what happened?
yeah, right. So
They were angry. They were angry
yeah,
for us.
we were all in tears.
I'm
like, we
angry
were just,
for you.
Yeah.
we were really upset, and then we talked to the police officers and we were like, okay, something's gonna happen. And it's so funny, sad really, that when they told us that she was gonna go to jail, they were like, you guys can take the baby, and we were like, we will take the baby. And everybody was telling us, don't do it, like you have to let this go. And we were like, she's not going to foster care, we will take her, even though she just attacked her.
This has nothing to it's a roundup. It has nothing to
So
do with the
did
baby.
you all think about pressing charges?
We did.
We did.
I have
You
it in
did
my
get
wallet,
pressed.
the whole press charge.
So
Right.
did she actually go to jail?
Well, what happened was because there was somebody that said I was on top of her, she ended up pressing those same charges against me. And keep in mind, we go to a mega church, so there are HPD cameras, but HPD already on site. But these are just officers.
Overtime.
Overtime.
We're working
Yeah.
overtime.
Overtime. And so they came in. The lady officer came in the restroom like she did not want to deal with this bullshit on a Sunday, and I get it because this church is not supposed to happen, but it
She's
did.
like, this is supposed to be easy,
Right. But it
OT.
happened, so
Right.
I need you to deal with it. But she looked like she really didn't want to. She responded like she didn't really want to. She didn't care or whatever. And so I feel like I really should have called the actual police to come
Yes.
and let them figure it out. But
Because they maybe had the right to be like, okay, I need to see the camera.
absolutely,
Right.
I need to see who threw the first punch. I need to see what happened.
and yeah, so that day's over. We go home. We get a call that she doesn't go to jail, and then the lead security at this particular church calls us like the next day. He calls me first. I was like, hey, due to the situation, we have to do an investigation. You guys cannot come back to the church right now. Hangs up the phone with me. We're in the car together. He calls her. Same thing. And we're like, okay,
I hear Brittney wouldn't even fight.
that part.
What the mess?
Exactly. And so we're like, okay, we understand that part.
Yeah.
Fine. Give them 2 weeks or whatever to do that investigation because I get it.
Yeah, you're supposed to.
Okay, fine. But then 3 weeks goes by, nothing. So I send a text message. Hey, just following up. Because what happened was my son, he's an actor, y'all.
Yes, he is, and he does.
He's
an amazing. Job.
Okay, he's bomb.com.
And he's the cutest little thing ever.
Yes, he
Thank
is.
you.
Book him now.
Book him now. So he got the opportunity from somebody at the church who's like really involved with everything. We always see him when we're out. He's like, hey, we're filming this Nike commercial, but it's going to be at the church. Can your son come? So that prompted me to email the church because I didn't want to go and be trespassing.
Yeah.
Doing everything the right way. Hey, my son has this opportunity. I know that we're banned from the church right now. Is there any way that, we can get permission to come back up there? It's not during service or anything so that my son can partake in this opportunity. He was like, let me see what happened. I actually think he reached out to that guy because he messaged me and was like, hey, we're not going to do it anymore. But I just think that they, whatever. So, missed opportunity for my baby. And I was like, cool. And then maybe like 2 weeks later, he followed back up and he was like, well, we're not going to be, no, he said the trespassing order is still active. And so I messaged him back and I was like, well, I've been part of this church for 8 years. I've never experienced anything like this. Is this something that you guys are going to uphold or what? And I never heard back anything. And how we knew we were banned for, like, couldn't come back was that my ministry leaders literally called me that afternoon. And it was like security just came and told us that you guys can't come back due to the situation that happened at the church.
So where is she? Do she get to go to church?
No. From what we know, she can't come back either.
Right. Yeah.
But she's on the loose. Can't find her.
On the loose.
They're looking for her. They're looking for you.
Right. Very much so.
So CPS is looking for her
CPS is
to get the
looking for you,
baby.
to get the baby.
So she still has the baby girl.
But she has not been cooperating as of today because I recently talked to CPS. She has not been cooperating. They have not laid eyes on the baby, and they would like to, but she's not cooperating. And the monitor is nowhere to be found.
Okay, so I have this quick question. I followed your videos. When she originally went to jail, she did not go to jail for what she did
Nope.
Oh, no.
to her son.
Nope.
Right. She did not.
Not at all.
Big gash on the face.
Right.
That is not why she went to jail.
No, absolutely not.
Why was something else more important than the
Right.
fact?
That she had abused her.
That you
Clearly
have
abused
abused
her
your
child.
child.
Absolutely.
And what did she go to jail for?
So the day that she called to get the kids,
And this
out-
can be public record because
Oh,
you can
yeah.
pull
Oh,
up
for
this
sure.
kind of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. You can pull this up and find out any of it.
ABC
So,
News Houston did a report on it.
yeah, so this is public record, so
Yeah.
it's okay. Just
right. So I guess I could say allegedly, but like she
Allegedly.
was on the phone, and I'm like, what did she do? Like, because again, we already knew she was mysterious, but I'm like, I was like, what could she have possibly done? So I'm like, okay, we're gonna go figure it out. So I'm like,
me and you would
this
get along.
person,
Yeah.
I'm like, this person versus state of Texas. See something, I'm like, okay, let me keep looking, let me dig, let me go to the Harris County, website, see whatever. So I ended up finding the charges. So I'm like, okay, I see these, but I'm not sure if it's her because I think we had her name spelled wrong or something. I'm like, what's her birthday? Whatever. So we find it, and it says that basically she tried to, I don't know the exact wording, but she basically tried to trade in a stolen car for a $400,000+ Lamborghini.
So
So
all
these
these cars
Right.
and all this life that you're living is all fraudulent.
All
Yes.
the fraud life.
Yes.
And then not only that, guys, the reason why she went to jail because she had an open warrant because she missed her court date.
Right.
She missed her court date because she went to Miami, Florida to have her back blown out, and she left
kids.
big boy and baby girl at the house for 3 days by themselves.
Shut your mouth.
Now that's tea. Everybody drink. We're
She's
not being
out.
messy.
She's out.
Yeah, that's
She
We're
out.
spreading awareness. Don't leave your kids at home, guys.
alone to watch each
And
other.
they're babies. Like he's not even 16.
And not only that, she blamed him for why she couldn't get back to make her court date.
Mm-hmm.
She blamed Big Boy.
What he got to do to why you can't?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Yep. So that was that.
Wow. So that goes to show you that just because it looks
Right.
Mm-hmm. Everything that glitters is not
not
gold.
gold. Facts.
So did she get any charges for the abuse? No. So
Still
still
nothing?
So
There are no charges.
there are no charges, although CPS is involved for the abuse. But
And
there have
they
been
know
no
this
charges.
happened.
Yeah, they know it
Okay.
happened. But she was not originally taken to jail for any abuse. They didn't even. It made me like gasp because I was like, wait, you're not charging her for this? Because that night that I picked him up, he had the gash. She took a pole and beat him with it. And what happened was that pole ended up making contact with his head and his eye, and it caused the gash in his eye. So she literally was beating him. And the reason why I guess she said it escalated and his story match is because he was so tired and he did not want to deal with the baby that day. And the reason how police ended up actually coming to the house is because when he had the gash, he ran away to a corner store and was so tired and fell asleep in front of that store. And somebody called for a suspicious person. Police came, saw he had a gash eye, took him back to his mama house after he told them what happened, and they end up running her license, and she ended up going to jail because she had
because of that.
warrant.
But if not that, they probably would have left him there.
Mm-hmm.
And there's still no pending charges for the CPS.
Absolutely.
For the abuse.
Nope. No.
What the hell is going on? What the hell is going on
CPS, what
in
the hell
Harris
is going
County?
on?
Well, I feel like it should have been the cops because the cops should have.
Okay, but
done
even then,
something, right?
CPS can initiate.
Well, yeah, I know that,
once
but
they
like-
got involved because
Right.
they got to come and talk to you guys, right?
Right,
There's
yeah.
clearly abuse.
Yes.
They should have
They should have done
initiated.
something
Even
to
if
it.
charges.
the cops didn't do anything.
Right, so I feel like the cops should have
Should've
done something
been the
because they're
cop.
asking you what
Yes.
happened.
Yeah.
You see it on his face.
Oh, let's go
Not-
back to the house.
Right.
Well, it happened before that, and they took him back to the
Right,
house.
so it's like they just keep taking
They
him
keep
back.
So, like you said, they're failing him. So
Yes.
the Houston Police Department is failing him.
Yes.
CPS is failing him.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, his mom has failed him from day one.
Yep.
It's just like I
Dad
pray. Is he with dad now?
We don't want to say where he is
Okay.
right now because everything there's still a legal thing
Okay.
going on,
But he's safe.
He's good.
He's safe.
Yeah,
Okay,
he's
so it's only baby girl that currently
yes.
is with church member,
Correct.
and you guys, no one, they're looking for her.
Yeah, they're looking for her.
This is so crazy. And again, it goes back to not just the fact that the church can fail you, but the system. We complain a lot about our boys, but the system fails children. It fails people, and it's hard to have such a big heart because I know you guys are. I've known you long enough to know how loving you are. The same thing with her. You love so much. Your heart is so big because I'm that girl.
Yes, you are.
I'm that girl for sure. And you love so much that you hate to end up being that cold person
Yes.
because it's like I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's a situation right now. She don't even know it's been in my head. It's a situation right now, and I feel like these people, when you struggle, can tend to take advantage of stuff. So I've been asking a lot of questions because people do that.
Yeah, they do.
And then it turns you into somebody that you don't really want to be.
Yeah.
And it's sad that we can't just be the loving, kind, God-fearing people that we are. Because our goal is to live like him.
That's right.
And that's what he does.
Right.
He loves, he trusts, he's going to, and to have empathy is a big thing. Everybody don't have that quality.
Which was why I was confused
Everybody
as to
is
why
like-
we couldn't come back because we displayed everything that they
Yeah.
wanted us to display.
Yes.
And volunteers as leaders, we were over church. We showed love and compassion. And while we, everything that we did, we don't look for money back. We don't look for our time back.
Not even the recognition
Not
that
even
you
the
got.
recognition.
Nobody looked for any of that.
Nothing.
And we had no idea that was even happening.
Yeah. It was
It
like,
was-
we just want.
And I know your schedules.
Yeah.
So the time that you are outside of what you do, like her son stays pretty busy and acting and doing different things. She works
son's
a
plays
job.
sports.
Her son, like she works a really
Busy
Busy
job.
busy
job.
job, a demanding job. And then her son is in sports and he does a little bit of the acting thing for the camps and like they keep them busy.
Yeah.
And I took time from my babies.
Yeah, exactly.
And nobody even, and I know you mentioned it before, during this investigation, big mega church, stupid fail, nobody actually called you.
Yeah.
Nobody
called.
actually asked you your side of events,
Nobody
how
called.
things escalated from your son, what led up to this. No one
Nobody
from
called.
that church or that investigation team called and said, hey, Ashley, hey, Brittney, can you guys sit down with us and explain to us what happened?
Nope.
I was actually really hopeful because they knew some people knew the situation. So I'm thinking, okay, they know some
They'll
of what's
figure
been
it out,
happening.
yeah.
They'll figure out that we were not the aggressors or trying to hurt her or anything like that. But no.
Or if you talk to me and you
Right.
look at this proof that I have,
Right.
you see that we're dealing with somebody with a mental illness. And if I can lay this out for you, you're going to understand.
Which is weird because, 2 weekends prior, we had a training at the church and it was talking about like how to be volunteers
Right.
and leaders and how to deal with people
Right.
when you face these issues. So to me, and it hurts me to say it, they do all of this. And I'm so mad. In my video, I talk about how our pastor bragged on buying $100,000 grass outside. And that, even that Sunday, it pissed me off. And I was like, we're tithe paying members. All we need is a little bit of help, a little bit of something, and the least you can do.
And you go buy some grass.
And you want to talk about some grass.
And so when I first seen your video and I seen that they offered nothing, my thought was, even if you thought, I'm not giving them no money, what if they don't do the right thing with it? Even if that's what you thought, let me give a gift card
To HEB.
to a grocery store. Or let me go buy the groceries.
Walmart.
Our ministry leaders.
I will say our ministry leaders took it upon themselves to give us like an $80
But I'm
gift
talking
card.
about
the church did not.
Yeah, did not. Right?
Yeah,
Like-
you sent me a freaking list
Yeah.
of resources that I could have gotten from Cypress Assistant Ministries.
Right.
Like, I don't need this list.
Go to Once Upon a Child.
Okay, which
We
we
did.
did. We bought
Yes.
so much
I
stuff.
love that.
They
Yeah,
have
we
some
love
really
this.
nice stuff
Right?
there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
I
could
go
have
all
went
the
there
time.
and they sell gift cards.
Yeah.
And I can't buy nothing but children's stuff.
Exactly.
Right.
Like those are the type of things that I feel like that's when the church fails.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Like, how do you not help? These babies have been abused, hungry, needing help, and I'm okay with giving it out my pocket.
And it's documented.
Sure.
It's
Yeah.
documented.
It's
It's not like you
documented.
don't. It's not like I'm just coming in there and saying, "Hey, this is the situation."
Right, yeah.
This is documented. You have proof. You can show that this is what is happening, and you got a list that included, "Hey, this is how you call the WIC office, and this is what Houston Food Bank
Facts.
is."
Much.
Like, gone on. The baby don't even have a birth certificate. How can I go and get
And
assistance?
you have some grass that costs more than my house.
Come on now.
Yeah, I'm so glad y'all came. And thank you for
y'all.
being our first official podcast guest. Thank you guys for our introduction to like having
Yes,
other people
yes.
talk with
Yeah.
us. So
Come sit with them. It's a
Come sit
vibe.
with us.
You
It's
get
a
a free
vibe.
This
drink.
drink is
if
so
you-
right.
good.
And if we hadn't sent the
Oh my
children
gosh.
upstairs, I would have had allowed. I started to text the
And if you
refill
don't
my
drink,
drink.
we have water.
Have water.
Some lemonade. I'll
But
make them lemonade.
Remember, Jesus turned water into wine.
And in this case, it was Crown Royal.
Thank you guys so
Thank
much. Comment, subscribe, like. We look forward to seeing you guys next time. Thank
Yes.
you.
Right.